Good morning, this is David Wendell with BushcraftOnFire, and we welcome you to our 4th video episode of Almost Naked into the Bush. One thing I want to say before we start this episode, we've had a lot of rain today and it's still raining, and we may end up getting drenched out here. You know, survival is not about fair weather. You don't get to choose and pick what Mother Nature throws at you while you're out there in the bush. And too many people get out and just shoot videos where it's nice, shoot videos where it's all sunny and everything's good. In all honesty, I probably could not start a hand drill fire in this kind of weather. And I really applaud those of you who will get out there in all sorts of inclement weather and who will build a shelter when there's going to be 3 foot of snow on top of it, put up a tarp when it's going to be covered with 2 inches of ice when you wake up in the morning. That's what real survival is all about. So here we are out in this beautiful weather, and what we want to do today is show you how to make cordage. Now, we tried the hand drill a couple of days ago. That didn't work. We're going to try it again in another couple of days, and if it still doesn't work, we're going to have to go to the bow drill. One of the problems with doing a bow drill is there's much more preparation needed on your equipment. You have to carve the spindle, you have to carve the fireboard, you have to carve the handhold, and you also have to have cordage. Now, in the normal, I take and I replace my boot strings with 550 Paracord. I do this with all the shoes that I wear out into the bush, and that gives me a lot of paracord to be able to use when I'm making fires. A strand of paracord will last you a good long time on the normal bow drill fire. In fact, I've had some paracord on my bow drills that I use regularly for 4, 5, 6 years without failure. And the reason for that is because once you perfect your technique, it doesn't really put a lot of wear and tear on the string. It just really does that when you're learning. But we're not going to have our bootlaces today. Remember, we're going out here with no natural gear, only what we can gather in the bush. So what I want to teach you today is how to make cordage out of those cattails that we gathered a couple of episodes ago. Now, when you're using cattail cordage, and what we have is what's called narrow leaf cattail. That's what the pond has where we gathered it. You have a couple of situations. Cattail is not the strongest cordage you can make. And cattail has a tendency to bend over like this, and each one of those bends becomes a weak spot. So there's a special way you need to prepare cattail, and I know you've probably seen a lot of videos on reverse wrap. We're going to teach the reverse wrap today, but we also want to show you a 2-man reverse wrap if you have a partner out there with you that is way quicker and will save you a lot of time and energy in the bush. Now, the first thing, with narrow leaf cattail, you can work the entire piece of cattail. If you're using broadleaf cattail, then you would need to split the cattail down before you actually did it. But what I want to do is to start to break these fibers. If I just twist these fibers, let me show you on a piece here and we'll get another piece. If I just twist these, they're going to rip like that. And so I can't just twist. What I have to do is to actually break the fibers down before I twist. Now, it's a good thing that it's been raining for us because cattail has to be dried out. We've been drying this for the last 2 or 3 days, and then it has to be rehydrated to work properly. If you just try and use cattail green, it'll break on you. So the first thing that I'm going to do as I use this narrow leaf cattail is to begin to break down these fibers a little bit and just put a single twist in the fiber and bend it over. This gives me the start of my cordage. Now I'm going to take each piece and roll away from me and then wrap it back over top of the other piece. And again, because cattail is a little more finicky, you've got to be careful that you don't get very strong, heavy twists, or you'll end up ripping your material. Now what I want to do is to show you this from another angle, because there's a couple little techniques here that will help out and will show you exactly how to do this and make a strong piece of cord. A lot of times you'll see people that make cord and one piece will be running through with the other piece wrapped around it. That is not the proper way to make cordage, and it won't be strong. Alright, what I'm doing is I actually keep my index finger in between these strands and push back up toward the part that's already twined. that will help keep this wrap tight. And what I do is I'd make a wrap around and grab the other piece with my third finger, keeping my index finger in, and pull it back. As you do this, this will actually, because your index finger is pushing up, keep this cordage nice and tight. And you can see with this reverse wrap method that you can get very quick and you can do a lot of wrapping without any big problem. I can get a couple feet of cordage out of here in 5 minutes or so. One other thing that I do is every couple of wraps that I go down, as I twist this and pull back, I actually spin my fingers back up, going the way that the cordage is wrapped, spin my finger back up to make sure that's all tight. Alright, so now we've explained the right way to do the reverse wrap, and what I want to do is to go ahead and make this until it's about 4 or 5 foot long. We're actually going to double this over and reverse wrap it a second time so that we have stronger cordage, because I think that this will probably break real easy under the pressure of a bow drill. So let me make about 5 foot of this and show you what we do after that. Now we've got some of our cordage made, but one of the problems that we're going to have is that we ran out of cattail. So we have to make a join in here so that we can get our cordage longer. And what we do to make a join, I'm just going to wrap this down a few more times. What we do to make a join is just put another piece in, and as we put that piece in, we actually cord it to the piece that is already in there. And I'll show you how that works. One thing I want to show you is you'll notice that the ends of these are in different places. You never want two joints to be in the same place. That'll weaken your cordage.